Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So your eyes do not deceive you, we have MEHIRA on the Pioneer server currently. We're gonna go through her entire skill descriptions and they are crazier than I ever could have even expected from the trailer that we watched. Now this is the Pioneer server, so the content is subject to change, keep that in mind. So she has a range of 3, which is kind of like one of the limitations I see in her kit because that range isn't always ideal. But let's go ahead and go through her abilities. So her ultimate Euphoric Rush, this is going to have an initial cooldown of 0 and 0 pre-fill energy. So 0 pre-fill energy, that means it will take a while for her to charge this up. Now, when she is able to cast her ultimate, she will mark her target area with her kiss, striking all enemies within 2 tiles 6 times. This is going to be a big range. We have seen that in the trailer. It's like the range of an Iron ultimate, basically. Hits them 6 times, each strike will deal some damage, and then after a short delay, she unleashes a powerful blast in the same area, dealing this damage, and enemies hit by this powerful blast will be charmed for 3 seconds, a 3-second charm, which means that they will attack their own allies, and basically not be able to cast their skills or ultimates, just basically completely made useless for 3 seconds, which is powerful after she is able to cast this. Okay, so carrying on, we have the Blissful Whip. This is going to be her skill too. This has a 10-second cooldown, initial cooldown of 5. Now, this is the crazy one, because it is the one which may make her, and actually reading the multipliers here, it is quite likely to make her a good damage dealer option for Endless Dream Realm. Probably not for every single boss, but like the multipliers here are pretty insane. So MEHIRA lashes her whip at all units, friend or foe, in a 3-tile frontal arc. So 3-tile cone in front of her. She's going to strike them 5 times. Each hit will cause a unit to lose 22% health, 22% HP loss damage on each of the hit. That in total that is 5 hits. 5 times 22 is 110% attack multiplier, basically HP loss damage each time she's able to cast this ability. That is a lot of HP loss. When we put things into perspective, Ludovic, even after his insight charms with the skill power, is still not up to 110% attack multiplier. I think he's around 95 or 100% attack multiplier on his skill. However, the difference is MEHIRA has a long cooldown. This is a 10-second cooldown. That is fairly long for this ability. So she'll need a lot of haste buffing in order to cycle this fast enough. But you have the twins in all top Dream Realm teams. That should be enough haste buff for her to actually cycle this pretty quickly. Now, the other crazy thing is, not only does it do this high damage for endless bosses, it is also going to give a haste buff. If an allied unit is hit, they gain 25 haste for 8 seconds per hit. So per hit, from this wording, is clearly saying that that's 25 haste for each of the hits. There are 5 hits that can potentially hit your ally. So 5 times 25, 125 haste. So from the wording of this, this is saying if she hits her allies 5 times, it's a 125 haste boost for 8 seconds, which is ridiculous. If that is actually how it's going to work, the twins right now give a 60 haste boost to all of your team. If she can give 125 haste boost to any ally hit by this, like all 5 times, that is crazy. Now, of course, it is limited to her frontal arc, so you'll need to position in a way so that MEHIRA is like lined up to hit as many allies as possible to give them this haste, but this haste buff is insane. That is insane. And 8 seconds, like, that is going to be enough that when she's cycling it, it's going to be basically permanent uptime. So actually, there are a couple of things that can happen here. Number 1, maybe you use her with the twins, which I think probably makes the most sense. Number 2, you don't even use the twins and you use MEHIRA as your haste buffer, because MEHIRA is going to be an even better haste buffer than the twins, and that was one of the major roles that the twins have. And also the thing is, this haste buff is not dependent on ultimate casting. So if you're talking about Blightshroom, we're like, you know, we cannot use the twins for the haste buff there because they can't cast ultimate. Well, MEHIRA can still haste buff with the Blissful Whip because it's tied to her skill. So this is insane, right? And then the HP loss effect, of course, is reduced by 90%, so it's basically not going to deal much damage to your own allies, but to the enemy bosses especially, it's going to deal a lot of damage. So this skill is actually ridiculous for boss content. And it's crazy. Okay, next up, we have Alluring Magic. So there's a 15-second cooldown, an initial of 15 seconds. However, MEHIRA summons an illusion of herself on the tile closest to the enemy lineup, bewitching all enemies and making them rush mindlessly towards the illusion for 2.2 up to 2.5 seconds at the start of battle. She summons such an illusion on a symmetrical tile across from where she stands. So basically, at the beginning of the battle, she's going to instantly summon one of these, and it'll be a 2.5 second bewitched state where the enemy will basically just rush mindlessly towards the illusion and not do anything. They just completely, again, made useless for 2.5 seconds. So that is still game changing at the beginning of a match, whether it be AFK stages, whether it be PvP. And then after 15 seconds, she'll be able to recast this on the most grouped up enemy team. And to bewitch them, and also she'll be able to cycle her ultimate as well, eventually casting this, and this is also going to charm enemies. So she has a bewitching, she has a charming, she has a lot of crowd control, and she does have that instant crowd control from the beginning of the match. However, it does not affect unaffected enemies. Unaffected enemies are going to bypass and basically counter this alluring magic and also her charm. So unaffected is one of the major ways you're going to want to counter MEHIRA, but like there are not enough unaffected allies in the game right now, or heroes in the game right now, to fully counter MEHIRA. So she's still going to be a beast in PvP, and AFK stages, of course, this is going to be great. Then you have the Hero Focus. So Hero Focus increases life drain by 12. Each time the amount of HP restoration MEHIRA receives from any sources reaches 40% of her initial maximum health, her attack increases by 5%, up to 20%. That is strong. That is strong because like it's another 20% attack boost to herself, and her damage is going to scale on her attack, her HP loss damage. So like for Dream Realm content, you just need to get enough healing, like throw the twins in there, they're going to give the healing to MEHIRA, and then eventually she is going to have that boosted attack. So yeah, this is going to be very strong as well, that attack boost and also life drain. Okay, then you have her exclusive skill, Total Devotion. So when a battle starts, MEHIRA summons 3 familiars. So this is the ability which gives her survival, which is going to be important for AFK stages to an extent, and also for PvP mainly. This is not really going to be important for Dream Realm because you're not going to need survival. When you're taking her to endless Dream Realm bosses, it's not survival issues almost ever. It's just about damage output. And so this is not really going to help for Dream Realm, but this is going to help for PvP. And this is the crazy thing. She has like one skill which is dedicated for Dream Realm, and is probably going to make her meta in Dream Realm because it carries so much weight. This is such a like heavy lifting skill. And then she has these other skills for PvP and AFK stages, and then she also has this one for PvP specifically. So she's actually going to be a jack of all trades. When a battle starts, MEHIRA summons 3 familiars around her. Each familiar attacks enemies every 1.5 seconds, dealing some damage, which doesn't honestly matter. If MEHIRA takes a hit, that would reduce her health below 10%. She sacrifices a familiar to block that damage. She then becomes untargetable for 2.5 seconds and instantly recovers 10% of her maximum health. And this is the upgrade of exclusive equipment, just going to boost the basically damage dealt by the familiars, which again doesn't matter. But then her level 4, MEHIRA stores any excess healing she receives. So like she's benefiting from healing, whether it be from her own life drain or other healing sources, and she's gonna get that 20% attack boost eventually from her Hero Focus. And then from this at plus 15 exclusive equipment, MEHIRA will store any extra healing, and each time the stored amount reaches 50% of her initial maximum health, she summons 1 extra familiar, up to 3 per battle. So I think in total she's gonna begin with the 3 familiars around her, and then she's going to be able to create up to another additional 3. So in total, it could be up to 6. And based on the amount of healing which she receives, which is really good for PvP. But of course, it's basically only a PvP-oriented skill. But like, that is very useful. She's basically going to be like a Tossie with, rather than 2 invincibility procs at the beginning, she has 3 invincibility procs, and then she will get additional ones as healing is done to her. So she is actually going to be very difficult to deal with. However, of course, Crying Eye is going to shut her down. Crying Eye just kills everything. Crying Eye is a counter to basically everything in the game, but Crying Eye, of course, she's fragile, and so that is why she can't really be run on defense, and also, of course, Dunlinger or Lily may completely shut down Crying Eye. So, yeah, this is strong, very PvP oriented exclusive skill. It's exactly what she needs, which is that survival. She's probably not going to go down anytime soon unless you have a Crying Eye against her. Okay, then we have the Enhanced Force. So Enhanced Force increases the damage taken by enemies charmed with MEHIRA's Euphoric Rush or bewitched with her Alluring magic by 15%. Now the thing is, I don't know whether this applies. So for bosses, right, they cannot be charmed or bewitched because bosses are kind of unaffected, right? Now the question is this damage boost still going to activate even if even if the enemy is unaffected, basically? Now I think it still will activate. In which case this is like a mini Rainier sort of debuff. Rainier has a 25% basically boosted damage taken by the target. But MEHIRA will have a 15%. It cannot stack, but like she'll be cycling her bewitching and her ultimate fast enough that she should be able to have a pretty high uptime of this, and with 15% bonus damage to the boss, which is just more beneficial. However, we're mainly going to be using her for endless dream on bosses with the HP loss damage. I don't think she would be good pre-endless, although this haste buff for your allies is massive, so there's obviously a potential there. And when we're talking about HP loss damage, that cannot be damage boosted or damage reduced, and that's why Rainier falls off a bit in endless bosses when you have HP loss damage dealers. So if it is just an HP loss based damage team, then you will not need to it doesn't matter if this applies to bosses or not. But like basically for AFK stages, for PvP, of course, this is helpful, boosting the damage that the opponent is going to take. Now, honestly speaking, MEHIRA is a very one-copy wonder hero. Even in, well, obviously in Dream Realm, if you're going to use her as a dedicated damage dealer, you need her stats to be as high as possible. So you'll need her Supreme Plus, plus 20 exclusive equipment for maxing out her stats, because she's a damage dealer, right? Just like you need Ludovic, Pandora, you have them maxed out and invested for the stats. But if you're just using her as a buffer for this haste buff, or if you're using her in AFK stages for her charming and alluring magic and basically bewitching, this is all can be done at that one copy. Like the Mythic Plus is just for that survival for PvP mainly, although I can have some AFK stage use. And then Supreme Plus is just a bit of a cherry on top of the cake, and it doesn't really change much, honestly speaking. But you would want to get a Supreme Plus just for her stats, right? Okay, so showing it to you in the trial stage. You can basically see her here at the beginning of the battle. Let's just go ahead and do that again. At the beginning of the battle, she is going to bewitch the enemies for 2.5 seconds. And then now the enemies are going to be free to attack. And now all you're waiting for is for her ultimate, which is going to charm them, and then her follow-up bewitching. There you go, you get the bewitching again for 2.5 seconds, and then she's just going to carry on like this. She has 6 familiars around her right now. As you can see, that is a maximum I believe that she can have, and that is basically going to be it. So let me know what your thoughts about MEHIRA are in the comment section down below. Are you excited for her? Are you planning to recruit her? Definitely, I think she is going to be a game-changing hero, and she has some ridiculous things. This HP loss damage is ridiculous, and also the fact that it may be 125 haste boost to the allies that she hits 5 times. That is also absolutely insane, if that is the case. And finally, the charms of MEHIRA this season are going to be increasing the damage taken by the enemy target. Damaging an enemy increases the damage they take by 10%. Or up to 12% for 5 seconds. This is going to be unstackable. And if at least 5 enemies are affected, increases the caster's attack by 25%. And also there's going to be damage reduction eventually for the caster. So for AFK stages, for PvP, when MEHIRA is able to deal damage to all enemy targets, she is going to cause them all to take increased damage. Just like with their Supreme Plus, when they're charmed or bewitched, they're also going to be taking 15% bonus damage. And then also she's going to have an attack buff when all 5 enemies are affected by this. And then also she's going to have damage reduction to herself as well when you have a high enough tier of these charms. So definitely that is going to be strong for MEHIRA. And as for the actual sets of charms that she can get, definitely we're going to be looking at skill power for her. It's probably going to be attack and skill power, because the thing but haste is also, because then she can cycle her whips more quickly, and the whip is going to deal, you know, the HP loss damage, but attack as well. That is going to increase like the damage output from each time that she inflicts that HP loss damage, because it will be scaling on her own attack. So it would probably be arcane charms or mystic charms over here. So anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about MEHIRA in the comment section down below. There's no doubt she is a very strong hero, and we're going to have to see exactly how much she shakes up the meta. But I am expecting that she could be the next Chimera, but in Hypogean Celestial form. Because Chimera is basically a jack of all trades, good in all 3 major game modes. And there are very few heroes who are like that. But MEHIRA is looking like she definitely could be. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you are thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Firelight store. There is a link to that in the description of this video in a pinned comment. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus Dragon Crystals on your purchase. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.